Guys, what a game! The quarterfinal of the Champions League kicked off in style with a 2-1 victory for Bayern Munich in the Bernabeu in Real Madrid. A big result. Just to put it in context, the last time Bayern Munich had a win over Real Madrid, the wingers for Bayern Munich were Arjen Robben and Frank Ribéry. So that takes us back a long time ago. They did the job, 2-1 victory. First goal by Luis Diaz towards the end of the first half. Second goal by Harry Kane just at the beginning of the second half, like literally 20 seconds after kickoff. Real Madrid got a goal back by Mbappe. And there is actually a lot to talk about. It's not, I think everyone was kind of expecting Bayern Munich to roll over this Real team and really like dominate the game and possibly get a commanding lead back to the Allianz Arena. It's not exactly what happened. So let's actually like dive in and talk about this game a little bit. I think for me, overall, I would say it's interesting because this game is really a game between two fundamentally different teams. And I'm not saying like one is necessarily like always going to be better than the other, but both teams kind of played with their own strengths and areas of opportunity. Both teams showed areas of weakness as well. So in the end, it actually ends up probably being more balanced than not only what we were expecting, but also like the easy commentary after an away win in the Bernabeu. And I've heard it, from a lot of commenters who go like, Bayern was just so much better. And I think, yes, if you're looking at the amount of game produced, the passing, the tactical quality, and so on, not so much like tactical quality is the wrong word, but like, yeah, just the amount of games that they developed. Yes, Bayern did more than this Real Madrid team, but that doesn't necessarily always lead to a win, and this Real Madrid team, with a lot of solidarity at the back, and with like really like some sharpness on the counter, they also had their chance and that they also created a lot. And I think 2-1 scoreline in the end is completely like well deserved, I think. And I think if anything, in the end, I think it might have been closer to a 2-2 than to a 3-1, which gives you a sense of like, my perspective on the game, I guess. Sometimes it's not enough to just dominate possession. It's not enough to dominate the passing. And I think, realistically as well, Bayern Munich really dropped off in strength in the second half, especially as soon as they were 2-0 up. And it's something that, personally, I think I've seen and heard about this Bayern Munich team, and I think that's something to keep in mind, is that they look extremely impressive up front in the first half, but they put themselves at a pace that they cannot hold for 90 minutes. We've seen it. I think, like, for me, that was one of my takeaway of the Bayern PSG game in the Parc des Princes in the group phase. And it's been the case in a few of the big Bayern games, is that, they really start their game pedal to the metal, put a lot of intensity, press high, try to really overwhelm their opponent with a lot of movement, with a lot of players contributing to the offense, trying to create a lot of combinations, of spaces, of passing, and so on. But you look at their second halves, even you look at like kind of the point in the first half where they start dropping off a little bit. I think, they have a great like first like 20, 25, 30 minutes maybe in the first half. But then there comes a time where the game starts balancing it out. And if anything, like, it's interesting because their goals, the Bayern Munich goals in this game, actually come not so much from when they're in absolute control of the ball and absolute like domination offensively, but they come when they have opportunities to almost like transition very quickly. And the first goal, like, Vinicius loses the ball, and in 3 passes, it's Luis Diaz versus Yunin. and it's a goal. The second half, same thing. Like the Real Madrid is caught napping a little bit at the beginning of the second half. They get the ball, Bayern gets the ball back fairly high on the pitch, and 2-3 passes. It comes to Kane, who takes a shot from outside the area, and it's 2-0. It's not their goals don't come at the end of sequences of 30 plus passes going around the area, going up and down the pitch, players like dropping in and out of position and so on. Actually, like those phases. Not everything was perfect, and obviously, like Bayern still managed to create some chances in those times. But I thought Real was relatively interesting defensively, and I think football is funny because the more advanced and evolved a tactic is, the more simple the counter can be. And this Bayern team, which plays like initially a 4-3-3, which ends up like being a 3-2-5 in attack with wingers coming into midfield, Kane dropping, but the fullbacks going forward, kind of everyone moving in and out, and so on. You put on the other side a 4-4-2, like simple as can be tactically, with two very close, very dense lines, and all of a sudden, like kind of limit the spaces, limit the lines of passing, limit the opportunities to take an open shot, and it's hard to navigate for any team and for this Bayern Munich as well. Like I said, obviously they still managed to create opportunities, but I think on balance, yeah, I thought it was interesting, and I think in the end there's also like a lot to be said about individual players and their performances, and when you see the duel between Olise and Carreras, which is mind-blowing. When you see in the middle Kimmich and Pavlovic versus Pitaj and Chouameni, duels from the edges. You see Vinicius versus Leimer and Upamecano, Mbappe versus Sta. You see Manuel Neuer and the game he pulls off at 40 years old versus Lunin on the other side, who's kind of shaky at first and then like doesn't really shine at any point in this game. Yeah, like I think it's a good reminder because we always, when we talk about those games beforehand and we do the previews, like you always hear people who think in absolute terms, and I think like at the end of days, when the game starts, it's 11v11 on a green patch of grass, and you can have all of the sophistication in the world. Different teams have their qualities, their strengths, they've got their players, and so like the reality is that yeah, that's it's never quite as easy as we tend to imagine. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I thought this would be a tight game, and I'm kind of happy that in a way it ended up being a tight game. 2-1. It leaves a lot of open doors for the return in the Allianz Arena. I think this tie is far from done. Yes, Bayern took a step forward. Yes, they have the advantage and that one goal difference and the win away. It's a big step. Honestly, it's a big step. We shouldn't say pretend otherwise. But the second half, the amount of opportunities that Vinicius and Mbappe managed to create on the counter. Yeah, Manuel Neuer, who's not having as big of a night as this one, a little bit more luck going Real's way, and all of a sudden, like the tie can flip very easily. So it's gonna be interesting, and I think for Bayern Munich as well, it's like, in a way, like it's putting them in a slightly difficult position because like it's always hard to approach a return game of a double fixture when you only have a one goal lead, and it's the age-old question of, do you play to attack, to play more goal, do you try to be a bit conservative and wait for to see what the opposite team can do, and I think ultimately like this Bayern team, their DNA is to play, so I expect them to play, but in doing so, they're probably giving Real the best opportunity to counter and do something. I don't think if this Real team has to create the game and lead the game, I think it's going to be extremely difficult for them, and I don't think they'd be able to pull it off. But I think playing on the counter and in transition, it's probably their best opportunity. And so I think in the end, that game is going to be wide open on the return. Before I close, just a little bit further on a few individual performances, because I think a few of them are really noteworthy. Manuel Neuer ends up being man of the match. I think that's about fair. It says something about the match itself in a way, because when a goalkeeper ends up being man of the match, it kind of tells you that that his team was not the most dominating on the pitch, or at least like offered some opportunities, which was definitely the case here. But yeah, what a performance! Like he has really like quite a few. I think 4, 5, 6 big stops against Mbappe and Vini Jr. To be fair, I think they never end up having like as clear-cut chances as Bayern Munich. So if you think of Upamecano for Bayern at the very beginning of the game, was essentially an open shot from inside the 6-meter box and kind of fumbles it. If you think of Gnabry later in the first half as well, as like a really completely open shot in the middle of the box. Yeah, the Mbappe and Vini shot, either Vinicius, it's curling shots from like the edge of the area typically. Mbappe, he tends to be to have harder angles to navigate, and so in a way, it's kind of playing to Neuer's strengths. We know he's got a lot of amplitude, and he covers a lot of space in his goal. He can go to ground very quickly, and so the Mbappe shots essentially played to his strengths, but he really delivered, which was impressive at this point. Honestly, impressive. On the other side of the pitch, Olise, he's looking like a cheat code at the moment. Like he's playing like a man possessed, and there is not one point where he gets the ball and there is no danger happening for Real Madrid. I think Carreras had a horrible time with him. In fairness, he wasn't really like supported that well from Arda Güler. And I think like when like you have your left back facing an opponent like Olise, you need to give him some help, and I think like Real Madrid maybe left him a little bit to his own devices, but yeah, Olise like took the best of it. He's dribbling, he's going outside, inside, passing, shooting, dribbling, like the whole thing, and he's really turning in a man of the match level performance in the Bernabeu, which is, it's impressive. I think we don't speak enough about Olise, because I think like people don't focus a lot of time and energy on following and on talking about the Bundesliga. But Olise's season is Ballon d'Or level. I'll say it. If Bayern goes all the way, if France goes all the way in the World Cup, Olise is gonna be up there. He's gonna be up there because the amount of stuff that he delivers week after week after week, game after game in the big games now. Yeah, it's Ballon d'Or territory, and we should be mindful of that. On the Real side, honestly, like no one is really like jumping to mind in terms of individuality. Mbappe and Vini did okay up front, and I think like managed to create chance on the counter. I think the midfield, I'm not entirely convinced by Pitarch and Tchouaméni. I think that double pivot is kind of like Tchouaméni does well with the physical impact, but I don't think he was differentiating versus a team like Bayern, who's very dominant in this space. And I think, a player like Jude Bellingham coming back is going to help a lot. I think Tchouaméni is going to be suspended for the return. I wonder if it's an opportunity for Camavinga, who might be more suited to come help Carreras at the left back. I don't know, but it feels like that pairing is not entirely right in what it's producing. And then defensively, like I think Trent Alexander-Arnold was interesting offensively, but really like weak defensively. And ultimately, like what really struck me, and I think that's more a tactical point, but the Real player, when they defend, they look at the ball first, then they look at the Bayern Munich players and what they do, and what they miss and what they need to be following if they want to get better at really closing down this Bayern game. They need to be looking at the spaces, because Bayern Munich, they play to the spaces, they pass to the spaces, and the first game by Luis Diaz, like, go back and look at it. It's incredible. Trent Alexander-Arnold is looking at the ball. He's got Luis Diaz who's making a run towards his back, which he kind of sees but doesn't really react fast enough to. And the thing that is missing is that he's got a big space in his back because Rudiger took a stumble and cannot cover, and Carreras is covering an offside. And in a second, Bayern Munich, they see it and they play for it. They play for the space at his back. It's so. Looking at the ball, you're missing most of it. Looking at Luis Diaz, you can kind of cover if you see like what kind of run and how he's calling for the ball. But you need to be thinking of the space. And even when Bayern is doing their thing of tons of passes and keeping control of the ball and so on, it's exactly what they're doing. A player drops out of position, so he's going to drag his defender with him, which opens another space for another Bayern Munich to jump into. And all of a sudden, all of that movement into and out of space is creating a lot of opportunities for Bayern Munich. And you get to a point where the Real Madrid defense gets dragged out of position. Just like by virtue of, because they're looking at the ball and they're following the players. And I think, they need they really need to be smarter in defending for the spaces. That was like one of my takeaways. Anyway, this is what I had for you guys on this Real Madrid Bayern Munich game. 2-1 victory for Bayern, a big step forward, and a crazy performance from Old Man Neuer. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this game. What were your takeaways? Who was your man of the match? Do you think the tie is done, or will Real Madrid have a chance on the return in Munich? As always, if you made it this far, please drop a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified, do all of those things. And don't forget, even in Madrid or in Munich, ici c'est Paris!